Many businesses struggle, but how can you start one that thrives? We've identified 6 businesses with exceptionally low failure rates, supported by solid data. Concerns about business failure are valid. Statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Labor indicate that 20% of U.S. small businesses fail in the first year, 50% by the 5th year, and 2/3 within a decade. Understanding which businesses are most likely to succeed can help you make a more informed choice. The initial business venture is crucial. A first failure significantly reduces the likelihood of future risk-taking, a phenomenon known as recency bias. Success breeds the confidence to take further risks, while failure often leads to hesitancy. Let's dive into the data and discover which 6 businesses offer the best odds against bankruptcy number 1. Business that might surprise my friends who like to go against the norm is the humble laundromat. It has an impressively low failure rate, with statistics indicating a success rate of around 94.8% over 5 years, according to Laundry Lux. Now, it's worth noting that Laundry Lux, being part of the laundromat community, might have a bit of bias, but the Chamber of Commerce, in collaboration with Speed Queen, suggests a 93% success rate, putting it in the ballpark of the 90s. This reliability is one reason I often refer to laundromats as a great entry point into business ownership. Laundromats are straightforward to grasp. You've got quarters, machines, washers, and dryers. They typically don't require a fortune to start or purchase, and interestingly, people still need to wash their clothes even during economic downturns, providing a form of recession-resistant business. Additionally, there's a passive element to laundromats. If you run it as an absentee business, you can manage it remotely with minimal staff, since your employees become the machines. If you're curious about the details of running a laundromat, there's a video available that delves into the nitty-gritty, covering everything from how to start one, like the first one I bought for $100,000 that made me $67,000, to strategies on turning a laundromat into a $3 million venture. So while laundromats may not be the first thing that comes to mind in the business world, their stability and simplicity make them a fascinating and potentially lucrative option. Now, let's move on to another topic, BACs. Number 2, owning houses and renting them out can be a good way to make money. Some very successful people, like Andrew Carnegie, thought it was a great way to become rich. They said that about 90% of millionaires got their money from real estate. Real estate means owning buildings or homes. It's been a better way to make money than a lot of other types of business. Why do people like real estate? Well, it's a pretty simple business. You buy a house and that's the thing that you own. The price of the house is usually decided by how much other people are willing to pay for it. So, there's not a lot of guessing about how much it's worth. If you rent out the house to someone else, you get money from them every month. It's like a steady paycheck. People also like real estate because it tends to go up in value over time. That means the house might be worth more money in the future than it was when you first bought it. Another cool thing is something called leverage. This means you can use someone else's money, like a bank's money, to buy the house. There are also ways to save money on taxes when you own real estate. For example, if you sell a house and make money, there are ways to delay paying taxes on that money. It's not super easy though. You might need someone to help take care of the house, like a property manager. And it's important to be smart when you buy and sell houses. Right now, in some places like California, house prices might be going down, which can be a good time to buy if you can afford it. Even if you're not making tons of money every month from renting out a house, it's still a good way to learn about business. You can figure out what works and what doesn't, and how to make better deals. So, while renting out a house might not make you super rich right away, it's a good way to learn and maybe make some extra money. Number 3, self-storage facility. If you're not keen on investing in real estate for apartments and dealing with tenants issues, self-storage places might be more your thing. They've been doing really well in the real estate world since around 2008. According to a few studies like one by Rhino Building, these businesses have a success rate of about 92%. But here's the catch. There are a lot of these self-storage spots popping up. So, will that high success rate stay the same? It's something to keep an eye on over the coming months and years. Still, I know folks like my friend Nick Huber, who make loads of money from storage sites without even being close by. He lives hours away and has it all sorted out. We've got a whole article explaining how to start and manage a self-storage business without needing to be there all the time. What's cool about this kind of investment is that technology has made it super easy to run these places remotely. There are things like keyless entry, tracking systems, and automated stuff for payments and contracts. People can get in and out of their storage units without needing you around. Plus, there's a neat trick where small improvements, like just painting the front of your storage unit, can bump up the property's value quite a bit. With smartphones and all, you don't even need a manager on site for most things. Number 4. Let's talk about the business of delivering stuff, especially the short-distance kind known as last-mile delivery. This has become a big deal in the past 10 years because of online shopping and services like Uber. The idea is simple. You move goods or people from one place to another and get paid for it. It can be a full-scale trucking operation or just a small gig, like driving for Uber on the weekends. Surprisingly, these businesses have a success rate of about 76.4% according to Advisor Smith. I thought they would be more complicated, but it turns out they're not that hard to make work. There's a wide range here, from driving a truck across the country to delivering food in your local area. Of course, the success might vary, depending on whether you're doing short trips or long ones. What's interesting is that these businesses don't require a ton of stuff to get started. You might need a truck, and that's an investment that holds some value, especially if you buy a used one. The risk is relatively low because you don't have to spend a ton of money up front. And that's a big deal for me, and probably for you too. I don't want to risk everything I've worked for on one deal. These types of businesses seem like a good way to dip your toes into entrepreneurship without diving into deep waters. Sure, there might be challenges, like finding enough drivers if you want to grow really big. But starting small, turning a job into a business, that could be a smart move. Plus, you're delivering something people need, and in today's world, that's a good place to be. So, if you're thinking about starting a business, these delivery services might be a great way to begin. Number 5. Vending machine routes. So if you don't need a ton of money, just about 3 to 5K, to start a vending machine business. Or if you're clever and can hustle a bit, you might snag a used one for around $800. I've talked a bunch about this before. Some friends of mine have vending machines that sell healthy snacks, while others go for the usual stuff. Oh, am I name dropping? Maybe a tad. But listen, there's this person named Candace Nelson, creator of Sprinkles Cupcakes. She came up with these cupcake vending machines, a genius moves. She definitely made more than a few bucks from that idea. No big deal, but if you don't think Sprinkles' red velvet cupcakes are the absolute best, well, we might have to reconsider our friendship. Anyway, once you've got your vending machine, a few things need sorting for it. Find a spot with lots of people passing through, work out a deal to place it there, maybe pay a fee or provide a service, then stock it up. It's a fantastic business to get started. But if you're aiming to be a big shot or rake in tons of cash, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands a year, this might not be the one for you. You could make a decent amount, like maybe up to $100,000, especially in the beginning. It's a great way to learn about stuff like profits and losses, managing costs, setting prices, and dealing with a few helpers or handling it all solo. Start small, no risk of going bankrupt, learn the ropes, then slowly grow. This business has a success rate of over 90%, which is pretty solid. Eventually, you could gather a bunch of these machines, sell them off together like some big companies do. The actual success rate for a vending machine business differs a bit. Some say it's as high as 90%, according to Drop Vending, while others put it at 82%, the US Bureau of Labor. There are even vending companies worth billions, showing that this business can be scaled up. Though I reckon it might be a tough journey. When you think about it, a low chance of failing, not much cash needed to start, and it's a straightforward operation. I'm a big fan of this business for folks eager to get hustling. Number 6. Senior care centers. Senior care centers seem to be unexpected winners in terms of business success. Surprisingly, they have a low failure rate, which actually makes sense for a few reasons. First off, there are government subsidies, basically help from the government that allows people to run these centers with some financial support. Then, there's the changing population in the US. Lots of older folks need care, and there are fewer younger people to provide it. Initially, I thought, how do you start this? Properties for these centers cost millions. But turns out there are smaller houses that can be rented and properly set up for senior care. Or you could buy a house and make sure it's certified for assisted living. It's interesting because it doesn't necessarily need the millions I thought it did. So those are 6 businesses that seem to have a good track record according to the data. What businesses should we talk about next? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights and discussions like these.